Hey guys, Macca here with a video celebrating 250,000 gamer score. Every time I kind of reach a major gamer score milestone, I like to make a video similar to this one. Now this is technically part 4. I originally made a video covering the first 100,000, then I made a video covering 100,000 to 150, then I made a video covering 150 to 200,000. I'll link all of those down below for those interested in catching up with the original 200,000 gamer score I did earn. In this video specifically, I will be talking about the last 9 months, which I gained which I got to 250,000, and I'll only be talking about the games I've played since getting to 200,000. At the time of making this video, which is August 11th, I am at 250,755. I believe I reached 250 about 3 or 4 days ago, so probably like August 8th, but I had to do some things and get around to making this video. But basically, I'm going to be going to my achievements and showing and talking about every game I've played. Now, no doubt, this is the fastest 50,000 gamer score I've ever gotten, and that's partly due to the fact that there's so many ID at Xbox games, and there's so many really easy ones, and they're all worth the same amount of gamer score as traditional retail games. So gamer score has kind of been easier to get than ever, and I predict that the next 50,000 I'll probably get in like 8 months. I think it's only going to get faster and faster from here, and now that I'm doing this kind of full-time, you could say, I mean, there's going to be just a ton of new games coming out and a lot of gamer score being earned in them. So, Beyond Eyes is the last game I played, and the one achievement I have in this is for completing the game. I'm going to get back into it and make sure that I play it, get 100% in it. All of the achievements that I have missed are obviously the missable ones, but now that I've beaten the game, I should be able to run through within about an hour. Rare Replay is a game that I played quite a bit. I've probably played for 20 hours. I'm at 1,230 out of the 4,000. I don't know when I will find time to like properly revisit this game and try to get like more than half of the gamer score, but I'm hopefully going to do that in the next month or so before the huge game rush of holiday 2015. Submerged is a game where I made a completed episode. Hopefully you guys will enjoy it and you can learn more about the game there. This is a pretty simple action kind of exploration game. Next we have Whispering Willows. You can complete this game in about an hour. I do have a full game walkthrough on my channel, and it's not the greatest game. It's like this mystery horror game where you kind of side-scrolling and try to solve certain mysteries and something with ghosts. It's okay, and it's enjoyable for some people who are maybe fans of the genre. Probably not for me. Life is Strange, one of my favorite, probably in my top 5 games of 2015 so far. I think this game's incredible. It does a lot of unique things, and I highly, highly recommend that you try it if you haven't already. Slash Dash, this is an easy completion as long as you have 4 controllers to play with. I was able to do this in about 2.5 to 3 hours, and most of the grinding is involving one achievement, and overall it's an okay game, but it is local couch co-op only. Cube Director's Cut, this was a game that I streamed quite a bit, and I actually did really enjoy it. I thought it was one of the better first-person puzzle games that I've played this year. It is better, in my opinion, than Numa and Narrow, which we'll talk about in a second. I would recommend this game if you do enjoy first-person puzzle platformers. It reminds a lot of people of Portal, although it doesn't actually have portals, but it does have a lot of like movement and physics-based puzzles. No Time to Explain, this is a game I'm definitely going to have to revisit. I have 300 out of 1,000, and I think I could probably get 1,000 out of 1,000 if I devote another couple hours into it. I just haven't found time to revisit it. It's a twin-stick shooter type of game, where you do use the physics of your gun to traverse through the map. Trials Fusion, you guys know I love Trials Fusion. Since the last video, I've basically just been playing the DLCs, gotten all the DLC achievements up until the most recent DLC. Killer Instinct, this is a game that I did complete at one point, and I think I've completed the first 2 or 3 DLC packs, but since then they've just been releasing them so often and they take so long that I haven't been able to get like re-addicted into Killer Instinct and find time to play the rest of the new DLC packs. So right now I'm at 2,190 out of 2,785, but I do have the original 1,000. I think I have Fulgore and Spinal both also done in the DLC. And this is a game I do like to revisit from now and again, but just too busy. Dying Light, this is a game that I played when it first came out in January, then revisited recently, completed the story, and got a few miscellaneous achievements. I really enjoyed this game. This is probably another one that I would say right now is in my top 5 of 2015. Probably be on the lower end, probably in the 5th spot. It's good. I enjoyed it. First person, zombie survival kind of horror game. I thought it had good graphics, a decent story, and some unique aspects. Although I never played Dead Island, and a lot of people said it was too similar to Dead Island. Next up is Scrabble. This is a game that took me, I think, an hour and a half, 2 hours. You can do this all by yourself. You can even use like cheats online to kind of solve the best words you possibly can for you. And for achievement score horrors like me, this is basically heaven, other than the price tag, which I don't think is worth it. Call of Duty Advanced Warfare, I have 815 out of 2,000. All of my achievements are from the base game, as I did not purchase the DLC. It's Call of Duty Advanced Warfare. I think I do have some thoughts about it on my channel. It was an okay rendition. It was an okay entry into the series. I thought it played very well, but it didn't seem to catch on in the community too well. I enjoyed my time with it, but it's not a game that I was addicted to necessarily. Forza Horizon 2, my #1 top game of the year in 2014. I think this game is great. I have 1,585 out of 2,000. I have both of the DLCs, which are the Porsche expansion, as well as Storm Island. And I've played a lot of this game. I've probably played, I think I can click on it, and it should tell me how long I've played it. I hope. Let's see. No. Maybe I'll have to compare a friend to see how long I've played it, but I've probably played it for close to 100 hours, if not more. And it's just so long and grindy to complete. I haven't found time to go back, nor will I ever really find time to go back and complete it 100%. Next up is Quiplash. I did this at the beginning of July. You can do this in about an hour using your cell phone in terms of achievements, but if you guys are interested in an actual game, it is a sufficient party game, and it has a lot of potential for fun, but it's a little bit of a unique entry, and it's definitely not for everyone. Batman Arkham Knight. I only unfortunately have 370. I played this game quite a bit leading up to its launch, but then I ended up being busy with other games shortly after, so I wasn't even able to finish the story completely. This is a game that I did really, really enjoy, and I do really plan on revisiting. I'll just have to find the time to do that. Payday 2 Crime Wave Edition. I had a lot of fun with this before it was released, playing with my friends in like player lobbies, but unfortunately the game still seems to be somewhat broken, and I couldn't recommend it for that reason. It's very hard to do a matchmaking game, but if you can find a good squad of 4 people and teammates to party up with every night, this is a very fun, heisty game that I do recommend as a game in general. It just doesn't seem to work on the Xbox One for whatever reason. Mortal Kombat X, I have 510 out of 1,000, so just a little bit over half, which is what I kind of expected. I purchased this game and then sold it soon after, getting some of the achievements, making videos for you guys. I thought it was okay, an okay game. Like, in terms of fighting games, I like my fighting games a little bit more nonsensical, so Killer Instinct is something more up my alley. This game seems to reward button mashing a little bit more in certain instances, and there's some really cheap combos you can do, and I have in my personal opinion, Killer Instinct is a better fighting game for someone like me who's not necessarily that into fighting games. Next up we have the Swapper, and the Swapper is a pretty easy completion, should take around 3 hours. I have video guides for you guys available on my channel if you are interested. This is a very good puzzle game that was a port from a PC game that came out a very long time ago, and I really recommend it, even though it does come in at a little bit of a steep price. Halo the Master Chief Collection, what a lot of you guys are actually on my channel from. This has, I have 3,150 out of 6,000, so a little bit over half. This is actually the last game that I played in my last video when I reached 200,000. This was the game I used to get to 200,000. So it's still with me. I'm still unlocking achievements in it. I haven't unlocked an achievement in it in a little bit, but I do want to revisit it. Maybe get it up to like 3,500 out of 6,000. But there's no chance that I'll ever get to 6,000. There's just not enough time for me. Next up, we have Narrow. This game takes about 2 or 3 hours, and I would recommend it, but it's not necessarily great. It is a first-person puzzle game. I did make a completed episode about it, which I will link down below, and you guys are free to check out to learn more information about this game if you're interested. Spectra. This has a unique story. This game I got in May. The game came out in July. I actually ended up getting an unreleased version with achievements, and I have 1,000 out of 1,000. But this is not the same version that you can buy on the Xbox One store, and if I actually bought that version, and I can get another 1,000 out of this game by playing the version that's on the Xbox store. This is actually an unlisted version that only like 30 people in the world have, which is pretty cool. It's funny that this game actually was completely functional, and then they released a different version to the world, and that game was actually broken. So they somehow managed to take 2 months longer to release it, and then ended up breaking it along the way. I thought that was a little funny. Now, if you're interested in my opinions about this game, you can find out more on the completed episode that is about this game. Blue Estate, this is like a rail shooter. It's okay. A lot of people really hated it. I thought it was a really sad attempt at humor. I didn't think the game was funny at all, even though it tried to be funny. But the game, for what it is a pretty decent rail shooter. Geometry Wars 3 Dimensions, 755 out of 1,000. This is a game that I really enjoyed, but I don't think it had the same kind of staying power that Geometry Wars 1 originally did. And I think it's just maybe a premise that has passed its time. Wolfenstein the Old Blood. I played this in May and got some achievements. I made collectible guides for you guys. This was a pretty decent game, but definitely not nearly as good as Wolfenstein The New Order. Ride. I have made an extensive video about my opinions on this game. And I'm just not going to talk about it too much. It has a terrible frame rate, bad music, bad graphics, but for some reason it's still a very competent like motorcycle game. It still has really good physics. It has very rewarding and good gameplay, but it's just not put together very well. So it's kind of hard to recommend, but I really did have a good time with it, and I thought it had potential, but the loading screens were just almost unbearable at times. Infinity Runner, this is a first-person runner game, and I didn't like it that much, to be honest. Yeah, I'll just leave it at that. Tower of Guns, last achievement was in April 22nd, and this was a game that was actually patched after a while. It wasn't working for the first week or two, but I enjoyed this game a lot. It's like a randomly generated tower game where you climb up certain levels and try to reach a final boss, but every time it's different, every time it's random. You can select like a perk and a weapon. This is a pretty fun game for what it is, and I would probably recommend it for people who really like just arcadey first-person shooters. Next up, Goat Simulator. 1,000 out of 1,000. This was a pretty easy completion, and I had a lot of fun with it. It's not for everyone. A lot of people don't get it, but I enjoy it. It has humor, and it's a decent time to be had. Sunset Overdrive, 100%, 1,925 out of 1,925. Sunset is a game that I really enjoy. I think I talked about it in my last video pretty extensively. They've added quite a bit of DLC achievements and DLC packs as well. I enjoy Sunset Overdrive a lot, and I would recommend it for anyone who hasn't had the chance to try it yet. Monopoly Deal. This is a game that I literally just bought for like achievements. Can't recommend it unless that's what you want. If you do want achievements and you have a buddy who wants achievements, you guys could probably knock out all of these in about an hour. Limbo, 900 out of 1,000. The achievement I'm missing in this game is the one for completing the entire game in less than 5 deaths. I personally really love this game. It is a great puzzle game with great art direction, and I'm very excited for what the studio is bringing out next. I just don't have the patience to do achievements that are like, play the whole game without dying. That's just not my forte. I could probably do it. I just don't enjoy doing it, so I'm not going to do it. Now, this is the point of the video where sometimes I wonder if people are even really watching, because it seems like it can get a little boring, even though I'm trying my best to be like entertaining and explain things and talk about things and be, you know, engaging. So we have a little bit of a tradition, and every time I make one of these videos, about halfway through or nearing the end, I like to give you guys a secret word to put into the comments, and then the secret word will appear in the comments. The people who never made it to this part of the video won't really understand what's going on, but the secret word is always boobies. So just go into the YouTube comments and just type boobies, and people will either be super confused or they'll be in on it if they've made it to this part of the video. Next up, the Jackbox Party Pack. I bought this game to stream on Twitch so I could play alongside you guys. I have 950 out of 1,000. The 50 gamer score I'm missing takes like at least 10 hours, but the 950 that I have takes like 4 hours. So it's a very kind of, the last 50 gamer score is very based on like taking a long time to do a game, and I just haven't found that time to be able to sit down and enjoy You Don't Know Jack to that extent, which is one of the 5 games available inside the pack. But I do recommend this pack if you do entertain like guests a lot, and if they come over, you guys can play in your living room or even stream on Twitch. Next up is Slender the Arrival. I have 550 out of 1,000. I believe I streamed this game, and I had quite a good time with it. I do have to go back to it and beat it on hardcore mode, which should only take me an hour or so, and I should be able to get 1,000 out of 1,000. But this is yet another game that I have in my kind of backlog. I'll get to it. If I go to my... Let's see here. Hopefully it doesn't lose progress. All my pins here, I have like certain pins, so there's a whole bunch of pins off the screen. But like Far Cry 3, The Evil Within, Slender, Dead or Alive are all 4 games that I want to revisit. And then when I revisit them and get a few achievements, I unpin them and pin a new game in their place. Destiny, Halo, and Killer Instinct are games that I like to revisit. Payday and Batman are games that I need to revisit. And then there's just a whole bunch of new games. Usually this is way organized, and I like to try to come back to games that I want to complete. It's so hard to find time. There's so many good games coming out that are worth experiencing. Forza Horizon 2 presents Fast and Furious. This is a 2.5-hour Forza Horizon 2 experience that I recommend you had downloaded for free. Currently, I believe it's $10. If you like Gamerscore, it's an easy $10. If you like racing games, it's a decent racing game. That's really all I have to say about that one. Battlefield Hardline, 1,000 out of 1,200. I did not know they added DLC, but they must have. I bought this game, made guides for you guys, completed the game, and sold it. I did make a completed episode. I believe it was number 48. You guys should check that completed episode out and learn about more of my opinions. In my opinion, this was one of the most fun multiplayer Battlefield games I've experienced. I think the campaign is lacking in a lot of ways, though. Next up is LA Cops. I have 1,000 out of 1,000. I did also make another completed episode about this one. I think it's number 47. And in my opinion, this is a decent game. It tried to kind of bank off the success of Hotline Miami, and it has a very similar premise. And it does some things cool. There's like, you have 2 cops. You get to control each cop individually. And it kind of is supposed to be like a little bit of a solo co-op experience. But there's just not enough. There's a little bit of complexity missing from this game that could have made it a lot better and a lot more enjoyable. Ori and the Blind Forest. I think currently this is my favorite game of 2015 thus far. I highly recommend this game. I am not a puzzle platformer kind of guy, but this game is brilliant. And I highly recommend it. And I had a fantastic time playing it. Will I revisit it to get 1,000? I'd love to, but realistically I won't get that chance. And I do believe they announced some DLC for this game, or some form of an expansion pack, which will be available. Dead or Alive 5, last round. Don't have much to say about this game, to be honest. Let's just skip it. Ollie Ollie, played this for 1 day. Really enjoyed the 1 day with it. Won't go back to it. Don't plan on going back to it. But I enjoyed it. The Escapist, 430 out of 1,500. I guess there's DLC now. This is a cool premise. I have a preview video on my channel. It's a cool premise. I don't think it's intended for me as an audience, but I know a lot of people did like it. Scream Ride, 1,000 of 1,000. One of the hardest games I've ever completed. Took me over 40 hours. I believe there's like less than 50 people who have ever completed this game. I really enjoyed my time with this. It's kind of hard to recommend because it's not like a brilliant game by any means. The audio is not like fantastic and the graphics are kind of average. But I had a lot of fun with it, to be honest. And for that reason, just from a strictly fun factor, I recommend that. Numa, I mentioned this game earlier. It's a first-person puzzle game. Maybe puzzle platforming. Not that much platforming, but mostly puzzle stuff. It's a cool premise. It's just not worth its price tag for the length of gameplay it's at. So for that reason, I wouldn't recommend it either. Unmechanical Extended, 1,000 of 1,000. Cool little puzzle platformer, not much else to say. Saints Row, Gather to Hell. Pretty decent, but very forgettable. Never Alone, there's new DLC for this, which I did buy, and I plan to stream in the near future. So overall, the game's pretty good. I waited a long time to play it and complete it, but it's decent. Like, it's not fantastic, but it's decent. It's like okay. Funk of Titans, another game that really I don't have much to say about. Let's just continue forward. Destiny, 875 out of 1,000. I think I've played Destiny for around 200 hours. Seems like a lot. I know people who are in the thousands and thousands of hours. And Destiny is amazing gameplay with just not enough content, even though it can have content in certain ways. Terrible story. Don't play it for its story. But if you have friends who are into Destiny and they don't mind kind of introducing you into the game, explaining some of the things in the game, I do recommend Destiny. I think it has fantastic gameplay, and it is very addicting if you can put the time into it. The crew, I think last time I had the crew shown off in the last video. I think, no, I don't think it made it. But I only have 185, but I've played it probably for at least 12 hours. It's very heavy on achievements once you reach the end of the career, and I'm only about probably 65 to 70% of the way through the career. Tetris Ultimate, I played it for a couple hours. It's typical Tetris. It didn't work very well when it first came out. It had a lot of issues with like frame rates and stuff. But yeah, that's pretty simple, and that's all you're gonna get with Tetris. iDarb, this is a game that was free in, I believe, January or February. It takes about an hour to complete, and it actually is quite fun, although it was based mostly on couch co-op, and I don't have any friends. Monopoly Plus. This is a single-player Monopoly experience that takes about an hour or less to complete if you know what you're doing, and for achievement score whores like me, that is fantastic, so that's why I have it. Thomas Was Alone. This is a great puzzle platforming game, 2D side-scroller. I highly recommend this game. It's a PC port. I loved it the first time I played it on PC. The second time I played it with commentary turned on, and it is incredible. Mike Bithell did a fantastic job adding commentary to his game, and it is very insightful, and it kind of gives you a little bit of perspective on game development. I also made a completed episode about this game that I would recommend you check out. Far Cry 4. I believe Far Cry 4 made it into the last video, although I'm not 100% sure. I only have 215, unfortunately. Far Cry came out at a time where Halo came out, The Crew came out, Sunset Overdrive came out. Like 6 games all came out in the matter of like 3 weeks, and Far Cry was one of those. Unfortunately, got caught in the crossfire, and I never got to experience it to its full potential. The Evil Within, this is a game I will need to revisit, replay, and get more achievements in. Fortunately now, that's all I have. And I believe all of these other games were already featured in the other video leading up to 200,000. So I'm going to skip them, and if you want to hear my opinions or short little blurbs about each one, feel free to do that. We're going to quickly move on to some of the achievements I've gained in Xbox 360 games, although there's not very many, as I've barely touched my Xbox 360 in the last 9 months. I got one achievement in Rock Band. I got re-addicted to Rock Band for a couple weeks of my summer and ended up getting one of the achievements there. Played Geometry Wars, but did not get any new achievements. And then I did a few really, really easy games just for Gamerscore. I did Goat Simulator, which I've already talked about. Monopoly Deal, which I've already talked about. Fast and Furious, I've already talked about. Monopoly Plus, I've already talked about. Those are 4 games that I've completed. All of them very short. All of them are stacks. Destiny is a game that I had, and I just loaded up, and it gave me all the achievements that I had in my Xbox One version. So I never actually played Destiny on the 360. Deadlight is a game I'm very, very, very slowly working on. Haven't played in a very long time, though. And then Halo 4 and all these games are all games that were either talked about in older episodes. So that basically wraps up the video. I know some people find this video, like, tragically boring, but actually these videos tend to do very well on my channel. People tend to really enjoy them, and actually do add a lot of like insightful comments into the YouTube, underneath the YouTube videos. So if you have anything to say, if there's any of these games that you've tried and you had a different opinion than I did, feel free to let me know in the YouTube comments. Yeah, so I got to 250,000. Like I said, I think I'll get to 300,000. Honestly, if I'm going to put a bet on it, I think I'll get there in 8 months or less. I seem to be averaging at least 5,000 a month every month, and then some months I go over. So in like 10 months maximum, 8 months is probably like a realistic thing for me to try to attain, as long as I can continue finding time for Xbox and YouTube at the rate I am currently finding time. Obviously, if some kind of major difference happens in my life where I need to devote a lot of time to something else, then I won't be able to find the time for achievements and Gamerscore and videos and all that stuff. Anyways, guys, thank you for watching. If the video was entertaining, helpful, insightful, anything, feel free to like it. Subscribe for more content if you're here and you're not subscribed. And hopefully I do see you in one of my future videos. Thanks, and peace.